From the other side of the argument, and I don't think he'll mind my saying that, I'm delighted to be joined now by Sir Christopher Chope, who's the Conservative Member of Parliament for Christchurch, an ardent tax cutter and a vociferous and very public Liz Truss supporter. Christopher, good of you to join us this Sunday afternoon. Should Liz have tried to hold her ground despite the markets, despite interest rates and the polls?
I think she should have done, and that's why it's a big disappointment to me that she did give ground and seemed to have caved in to the anti-growth coalition, which she so much identified as being the big problem during her conference speech. But we must take some comfort from the fact that, did I hear Damien say that he was giving the Prime Minister his unequivocal support? If so, he didn't exactly use those words. That's great news, because I had a meeting in my constituency last night, and all bar one of the very large attendants were giving the Prime Minister their unequivocal support and saying that Conservative MPs need to get behind her and unite and show what Conservatives have done in the past, which is that if they unite together, then they can rule the world.
Yeah, I think, to be clear, and he's sitting opposite me right now and will throw something at me if I get it wrong, that what Damien said was that period of stability that you and your constituents down in Christchurch have just described is exactly what Damien also wants. Let the Prime Minister now get on with a new Chancellor, restore stability and get the job done. He's nodding in agreement to that, so we are at one. But here's the problem for you, Christopher, and it's articulated brilliantly in the Telegraph this morning by Dan Hannan. Everything that she stood for, and I interviewed her twice during the leadership campaign, for those low tax, shrinking state, lower spending, it's all gone. If she stays in office, as you and Damien want, it is not on a prospectus that she was elected to that office on. It's a false premise.
Well, Alistair, it depends whether we describe what has happened in the last 48 hours as a tactical retreat or a strategic defeat. And I hope that it's a tactical retreat, and that after a bit more stability is restored, then we will proceed with our tax-cutting, growth-creating agenda. And so I'm more confident than I think a lot of other people are that if we give the Prime Minister our unstinting support, then she will be able to get back on track. And why did this all happen? Because she did what I think was absolutely right, which was to put a cap on energy prices. Otherwise, all hell would have broken loose for our households across the country and also for businesses. So she did the right thing there. She's got very little credit for that. But the other side of that coin was that it did damage the stability in the markets.
This is dangerous consensus, because Damien also said that he also wanted tax cuts, but when the time was right and when the economics was right. I want to finish. We've got a couple of minutes left, Christopher, but this is, to me, very important, and I think is important for the party that both you and Damien support. You said, and I quote, Liz Truss has also captured the imagination of Conservative supporters, and it speaks to a stark problem, and that is the division between the parliamentary party, which you and Damien are both members of, and the party in the country that you were describing you had a meeting with in Christchurch last night. How do you bridge that gap between what the majority of Tory MPs in Parliament wanted and what the majority of ordinary Conservative Party members in the country wanted?
Well, we stick to our party constitution, which provides that the parliamentary party choose the final two candidates, and then those candidates go before the mass membership of the Conservative Party. And that's what happened. And there was a series of hustings right across the country. And Liz Truss got 58%, which wasn't a bad majority. So I think that if we try to change the rules, as some people are doing, to exclude the membership, the mass membership, from being able to have a say in the leadership of the party, then that would be thoroughly undemocratic.